Hi guys, Kathy from Maryland. How is everyone? This is actually part 2 of my Lake House Journal project. Part 1 was introduction of the digital kit, and we kind of flipped through this journal. This is actually how I constructed the journal, and then there will be a part 3, which is making ephemera and some of the special touches and winding up the journal. So it shouldn't be that long. I'm just going to take you through how I constructed it. Thanks for being here. Love you guys. Let's get going. Okay, I'm getting ready to build my journal covers, and what I decided to use was one of these dropped folders that you put in a file with. It's got the little metal across the top. And I cut the metal off, and it's nice because it already has like some marks here that have been scored, and I decided to go with a 1-inch binding. So there you go, my 1-inch binding is already all set. It is actually 8 5/8 tall by 12 3/4 wide. So I'll go ahead and get this part cut. So I wanted to use a plaid fabric. I have these plaid cotton shirts that I buy because I love plaid, and I had 3 different ones that I was thinking about using. They're 100% cotton. They are great for this kind of a project. They tear easily. They're great things. And I was going to go with this, and I couldn't decide, and I'm like, you know what? We're going to use all 3. I'm going to do a little patchwork here. So I've cut off one of the arms on each one of the shirts, and I've decided that I'm going to use this as a base. I'm not a quilter, but I can sew. And I decided that the easiest thing to do would be to do a base and to put squares on the base. This is 10.5 by 14.5. So I've got my 3 pieces of plaid. I just wanted to show you guys because I am going to fast forward this a little bit as I do this part because that would just take way too long. So I am going to rip, because I like this. I like the little edge. I'm going to rip some squares, some rectangular squares, different sizes. And when I finish with that, I'll come back. And we're going to glue them on here with a little tacky glue, Fabri-Tac, whatever it's called. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to sew some seams on there, and I think that will be really nice. So let me get that done, and then I shall return. Okay, I think we're good. Let's let this dry. So I didn't need a whole lot of Fabri-Tac, just enough to tack these down. And I think that's going to work nice. I didn't need to go to the edges because I left plenty of allowance to turn that under. So yeah, oh, this is going to be fun. All right, I shall return. Okay, here it is. I sewed around all the squares. Yeah, I like it. We're not going to look too close, all you quilters out there. It's supposed to just be a fun little pattern. Isn't that great? Oh my gosh, love it. Okay, so before we glue that on to the top of the cover, I wanted to show you what I'm going to do for the inside. I'm going to use this. So I'm using some of these maps on my, as you saw on my digitals, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're going to do that. And then to make it even more fun, I found this vintage hanky. Now, you gotta trust me with this, guys. You gotta trust the process. This is all gonna come together. It's so vintage, like 60s. Oh my gosh, I love this whole thing. So I flipped that over, and I thought, what if I sew this into the inside and make a couple of nice pockets like that. I'm going to stitch this on here before I glue it on to the inside cover. And I'm also going to put a little stitch down the front. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Let's get these glued on to the front and back cover, and then we're going to sew it all the way around. Okay, here we go. So we're going to cut the corners and just miter those corners. There we go. Let's get this one done. And I think what I'll do is just put a little bit on here. Give it a little smooth over. I don't need a whole lot, right? Because I'm going to sew it around the corners. Oh, love, love, love this cover. And guys, it was so easy. You saw how I did it. I ripped my little squares, I laid them out with a little Fabri-Tac, and then I just sewed around them. So easy and so great. Let's do this one. Do it like that, because that's how it's going to fold, and that's how it's used to folding. Maybe an easier thing to do would be to just take a little pencil instead of trying to hold everything, right? Kind of do one of these. Do not want this to go through because it's a lot thinner. I do not want to see dots of Fabri-Tac on there, so I am just going to really kind of smooth that out there. Now, if this bothers me here, which I think it does, what I'm going to do is go down the sides of that with something there and there. Because that's what you do when you sew and journal, right? That's why we have extra pieces of stuff. We're going to go right down that little edge, and we're going to put something on there. So we've got those glued on. I want to let these dry. I'm wondering, I might be able to put something on here right now. A piece of that. And that might tie that in. It's not a bad idea. And actually I could wrap it right around, couldn't I? Let's see what we think about that. And so it would go like this. That. And then I would tuck it around the side. That. And glue it on the bottom. Do we need to use any lace? I don't know if I want lace for this. No, I don't think it's a lace type journal. I'm gonna glue these and put a big book on top and let these, and I'm gonna sew around that edge so I don't need to get glue right to the edge. We just want to make sure that we're getting this as centered as possible. We do have a little wiggle room. And if it's a little off, which it is, I can see here and here, there's not much you can do about that at this point, so it's okay. I have this nice big Shakespeare book. I'll do that on one half, this on the other half. Okay, guys, see you in a little bit. Okay, this is dry. I sewed around the edges. I did that cute little, it's almost like a blanket stitch with my sewing machine. And I was going to do the topper, but then I realized because I decided to split up my 2 signatures and make 3 signatures. And because of that, I want to make sure that I have the topper in the middle. And so what I'd like to do is get the signatures sewn in first. And then I thought, well, there's a couple of things I'd like to do before I actually sew the signatures in. So if you want to put any type of a wraparound pocket or something that needs to go into the binding, you have to do that first. That's all. So this is going to be quick. I just wanted to take my 3 signatures, and I have a couple little things I wanted to do, and I'm going to call them the Gail Augustinelli pockets because she's the one who taught me this, and I actually love them, and I like it, how deep they are and wonderful they are. So with this, this is wonderful. This is by Vintage. Oh, shoot. So what I'm going to do is this one is Gail makes this very cool pocket where she turns these down. Just want to see if it needs to be the full. It could be a little bit lower. Yeah, I think I'm going to cut a little bit off. I'm going to just cut a little bit off because then it won't reach the top of the page, and I actually think that's okay. I don't really need pockets that deep. So I'll tell you what the measurements are of this. This is my ink and stenciled. I actually didn't use a stencil on this. I used one of those rug mats. So all you do simply is take these and fold them down like so to the middle. We'll take this one. So it's a pocket that, you know, reaches over 2 pages, and it's nice to use on a coffee dye page. So basically, it's going to go like that. This will get folded in half. And that's going to go like that. And then we have 2 beautiful pockets just like that. So we're going to cut away some of this bulk. Let's glue this down. So easy, easy, but wonderful deep pockets. So I thought, let's get these in there, and then we can sew in the signatures into the journal. Okay, there we go. Great. Glue it here, here. I'm going to glue it right down the middle. Nice, perfect. Okay, that one's done. So that's going to go in here. So then I have these 2. These are going to be wraparound pockets. Nice. Oh, I see. So it's even going to be on that page. So I love taking the digitals, extra digitals, and cutting them up and making stuff like this. It's so fun. I like putting one down the center here too. Probably don't need to, but I just like doing it. But yeah, you've got these beautiful digitals, so why not use them for some ephemera and extra pockets? Yeah, and just print yourself out some extras and that's great. Some nice little pocket. Let's see if there's anywhere else that needs a little help. I think that's where that'll go. And very nice. Good. I think this was going to go in this one. Does that go there? Yes, it does. That's really nice, actually. Okay, that's ready. I'll put this over here. I had one other thing I wanted to do. Let me just take a peek. Oh, it might be nice in here. So I saw Gail do this. I've never done it, and I'm going to try it. So she makes this thing where, and I actually don't know if she does a double page. I think she just does a single. But I'm going to try to do a double, and it ends up being a tuck spot. So you take this, and you kind of do a wonky fold. So let's give it a whirl. Again, I don't know if it's going to work. And then she folds it back sort of like that. Yeah, something like this. And, okay, we're just going to go with it. And then it gets folded, but it has to be, yeah, it has to be back a little bit more so it's not part of that. Okay, like that. And then I think what we'll do, we'll cut this so it's, yeah, that's it. And then it gets glued down on the page underneath it and it becomes 2 tuck spots. So I thought, why don't we do one on either side? Because I love my ants. So this one, maybe see how that one comes out? Maybe if we did this one with the bottom out, so it's a little different, like that. Yeah. Okay. And then this comes back like this. We shall see if this works. I don't know. Just want to make sure I'm doing this right. I think I am. Yeah. Okay. This would get cut here, like so. Okay, there's the 2 wonky folds. I think this one side's a little better than this one, but I'm not going to refold it. And this side will get glued here. I guess we'll do that one. And this one. That and that get glued. So, see what I mean? And then let's go ahead and get this inked. Yeah. All right. Let's see. This could go here. However, it's a little bit too, not much, just a little bit too long, but I'm going to take care of that. We're just going to take a little cut there. All right, now let's see what would happen if that went like that. Yes, it works. This is exciting. Okay, that needs to be glued down. I don't know what happened there. We'll glue this down. I'm going to glue the center. This, I think, needs to be glued. And then we're going to glue here. I think that's it. Let's get it in the middle. Oh my gosh, that's fun. How fun is that, right? Yep, so now you have 2 tucks there and 2 there. I did it. Thank you, Gail. I wasn't sure if I would know how to do that. Like, well, I'm going to try it. Oh, yeah. See, so that needed to go in. And this will go in the middle. That's my center. Now we're ready to sew these guys in. Not too bad, right? Okay, so we are going to sew these 3 signatures in. I decided to use a 5-hole signature, and we are going to sew right through, and that will be the spine. I'm going to use red embroidery floss. And what I've done is marked top here. I found my middle. I found my middle this way. And I did a 1/2 inch in between each. It's just a little tiny bit less than 1.5 centimeters. And I think that's going to work out fine for this. I've made a mark on the top middle, and bottom middle. So I'm going to go and just get that, center that right where it goes. And this, by the way, is the size of my journal page. So that's important to know as well. I like to paper clip that on like that. So we are going to go through and through with the awl, and we're only going to go about up to there. You don't want the real thick part. You want to try to keep your thread hole as small as possible. So let's go ahead and do that. I don't know if sewing in the journal is anybody's favorite thing with journal making, but one thing I have learned is this. Just take your time. Just take your time, put on some nice music, and just don't rush it, because it definitely is arduous and it's not the funnest thing to do, but it's necessary. And this is something that you really want to take your time and do right. I do know that. And just kind of try to make it a pleasant experience. The thing is, it's not that it's a bad experience, it's that it's a little wobbly, like things are moving, and I think that's the issue. So what I like to do is take a piece of wax, beeswax or something, and just kind of pull your thread through it. I just do it a couple of times. It just helps it go through a little smoother through the journal pages, especially with embroidery floss. It just kind of helps everything stick together a little bit better. Oh, I didn't say this is 3 times the journal. So we've got 1, 2, 3. I just kind of pre-cut. This is just a tiny bit longer, but it's 3 times the height of your journal should be fine. And I've decided I want this to be the first one. Let's get this in here and so now we only need to use the middle, because all the other holes are the same exact as that middle. Make sure all your pages are really nice and down. One of these days I'm going to get myself a cradle. So let's just do it as we go. This one's all set. Okay, I decided to do a voiceover for this. I've done a lot of more detailed sewing in signatures, and I will put one of those in the description. But basically we're going to start in the middle downward, and you're going to go upward and just keep weaving in and out. And then when you come back down, you skip the middle hole and go down to the next one. And that way you will end up coming back up through the middle hole, and that's where you can tie your knot. So I just wanted to say that. You know, sometimes you have to kind of wiggle that little needle to get through those papers. You don't want to re-pierce them. And one thing you have to be careful about is getting those threads tight. So here we go. Just going to do a couple of overhand knots. One down. And I basically fast forwarded the next 2. My lines were off a little bit, and I'm not sure. I think it might have to do that the plaid is like linear, and I think it made it look crooked. I got this little vintage picture that I got in an antique shop at the beginning of the summer. Isn't that great? I'm so thrilled about that. She's water skiing. I went and put a little piece of chipboard on the back so it would be a little bit thicker. And I've just got myself a couple of things here that I thought it would be nice to layer. This is a piece of that fabric from the Tim Holtz fabric release in blue, and I just love that. I thought that was great. And I also put a piece of chipboard, sewed it and put a piece of chipboard behind it because I want to punch a hole and put a rivet up there. So that's going to be the base of my front layout here. So I just need to ink up these pages, and we are going to get that on there. Do you guys like that? Oh my goodness, I am in love. I am in love with that. So let's go ahead. I'm going to use some scorched timber. I just really wanted to give that a nice dark little bit of an outline there. Did you guys ever go water skiing? I did as a teenager. It's a lot of fun, but it takes practice, and it's also dangerous. So I don't know that it's something to just do, you know, once, willy-nilly. I don't want anybody breaking a leg or anything. Oh, that looks good. Love that around there. That made a big difference. I don't know if I told you, but I was raised with my parents always had a boat, a family of 7, and we would cruise up and down the Hudson River in New York State, go up to Vermont, up to Lake Champlain. So I have really good memories of being on the water with my family and all that goes with that. The fishing, the swimming, it's just fun. Let's get this going. I guess we'll use a little bit of Fabri-Tac to glue. So this is going to go in here. Let's do this first. We can go ahead and get that on with some art glitter glue. Don't you love the Tim Holtz Backdrops papers? I am determined to use them more. They are wonderful. It's just like ephemera on the perfect weight paper, and they're just fantastic. Oh yeah, nice. And then she can go on. I knew when I was in that antique store this summer that I was going to do this journal. So I was looking for these types of postcards and little vintage prints. They're so much better than AI could ever be. Can I just say that? I may use AI someday, but currently I'm sticking to my vintage prints. I really like the authentic. They're out there. You just got to find them. And they're like real illustrations by real people. And that's what I like. If you use it, that's fine. It's just preference, personal preference. That's all we're going to say about that. I just hope that people continue to expand their creativity. It's just, very easy to just say, hey, draw me a picture of a girl water skiing. Boom. I didn't draw this, but someone did. That's all I'm saying. So I did not draw this either. But you know what I'm saying. Personal preference. There. Okay. And then from here to here, I'm going to use Fabri-Tac. Oh my God. Do you guys like that? Check that out. Oh yeah. That is something that I'm pretty excited about right there. Yeah, I had to go through that a little bit. I'm just going to use this bronzy type eyelet. Nice. All right, before I get that glued on there, I should get my dangle, right? This is going to go on the side. Maybe if I put that on there, it'll take the curse off of that being a little crooked. I think it will. You know what I could do? Oh, this is a good idea. I could even put a little eyelet right here and hang that from there. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the smaller one. All right, let's put it right in the middle. Okay. Oh, nice. Okay, so this is going to go on here. Now, I can either just put that through, or maybe I need a washer. Let's see what we think. Yes. Oh, does it cover up the curse of the crooked sewing? I think it might. Okay. All right, I'm just doing a voiceover. I wanted to show you, I took these Tim Holtz bronzy corners and I just wanted to put a little patina on them. So I took some salvage patina and brushed it on, gave it a couple minutes to dry, and then I wiped it back with a paper towel just to bring out some of that darker highlighted brass. And then I took some of this acrylic varnish that I got on Amazon. I'll put it on the description. And I put 2 coats on there just because that's water reactive. I wanted to give those corners a little longevity with that salvage patina. So we're switching now to a little key dauber thing I did for the front cover. I took a piece of plaid digital and just punched out that hole. I just wanted to make that special, add a little touch to that dangle for the front cover. And we're just going to glue that on and stamp it. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glossy accents over the whole thing just to make it shiny and fun. So that was actually very easy, but I think it was a nice effect. So let's just take some glossy accents and get that on there. I just take a small paintbrush and kind of blend it around. Yeah. I have made some progress. I wanted to show you these. My little patinaed corners, they came out good with a little bit of that varnish on there. So I thought, let's get these on first. We are winding this up, and I am pretty excited about this. Get that on there and get that clamped really well. I like the looks of that. Great. Nice. Let's do the back. Before I glue this on, I wanted to try using one of these, I don't know what it's called, like a little hitch post or something. Looks like one of those things you put on the back of your car when you use a trailer. You pull a trailer. So I've got this idea for a strap, and I want to put this. So let me find my middle first. All right, and the size of this looks like the smaller size. We're going to go right through. Don't need that on a second. Looks good. Okay, this is going to come up through, and that is going to go on. I was going to get a little screwdriver, but I don't even know if I need it. It has like a flat head. There. What's wrong with that? Okay. Now, I wanted to get that on because I wanted to see how close this is coming together. We've got that. I've got a little ball and chain I'm going to put on. And I wanted to show you, I did my fish, and I like them a little bit thicker like this. I went ahead and strung those just using some waxed journaling. Aren't those great? So I was thinking of hanging those along with this. I just love this. I think I'm going to put a feather on there too for my American Indian friends. So let's do this like that and that. Oh yeah, I like that. And then we're going to put the ball and chain through. We're going to see how that hangs. I wasn't sure if it would go through that feather, but it did. There we go. Oh yeah. Better. Okay, I think I'm ready to glue this on. All right, here we go. Stand up to do this. Make sure I get it right. I don't think that's going anywhere. Okay, so what I wanted to show you was what I had for a closure. I had two different ideas. One is to do another eyelet here and just wrap something up and around. But when I was taking apart my shirt, I saved this. This is the front placket with the buttonholes. I thought, wouldn't it be fun to take this and just put that on there like that? And then come around and then put another buttonhole you could put like 2 of them, so when the journal gets fatter, you could loosen it up, which I could see happen. Do you guys like that? That's my thought for the closure. I like that. Let's let that front dry, and I'm going to put a couple buttonholes in this, and I'll be right back. All right, so I think I'm going to end here, guys. I have a lot of ephemera to make for this. The video is getting long, and I decided to just stop here. So this basically was just the construction of this journal. I wanted to show you guys. Thank you for being here. This is a fun project for me. I hope you're getting some inspiration out of it, and you're also enjoying it. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great week. See you soon. Bye.